Thanks for listening to BYU-Idaho Radio. These are your evening headlines for Thursday, the 30th of January, 2025. I'm Kaylin Wills. On the latest episode of the Yarn podcast, professional storyteller and adjunct BYU English professor Mo Reynolds shares a story about telling the truth from Ghana. The story tells of a man who lied to cover a wrongdoing and was turned into spiders as a punishment. Reynolds then tells us that honesty is the best way to move forward in life.
I think God commands us to be honest, not just because it's a pure way to live, and it's the way we have to live to return to Him, but I think He commands us because He knows it's just a happier way to live. He knows that it's peaceful. He knows that it's liberating. He knows that it's joyful to be honest, even when it's hard.
You can learn about her stories at moreynolds.com and listen to the Yarn podcast on Wednesdays on KBYI 94.3 FM at 12:40 and 6:40, or find past episodes on our podcast feed. You can find the BYU-Idaho Radio podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Mask mandates could soon be a thing of the past in Idaho after the state House voted on a recent bill. According to the Idaho Capital Sun, the House voted 51-17 to pass a bill that would ban public schools, universities, government officials, and health districts from instituting mask mandates. Republican Representative Robert Beiswinger sponsored the bill that would prevent mask mandates from being forced on citizens. Opponents of the bill, including 9 Republicans, counter that the bill could harm the state's ability to respond to health crises in the future. Idaho has never had a statewide mask mandate. The bill does have some exceptions for healthcare facilities, those working around hazardous materials, and in industrial settings. Craving sweets? The Little Free Bakery in Rexburg drops a free dessert every weekend. Ella Ziegler has the story.
On the stairs of a quiet apartment complex in Rexburg sits a wooden box full of delicious treats, ranging from soft pretzel bites to cinnamon rolls, all baked by Alex Andrews and given out for free.
So right now I'm making chocolate chip scones. I've actually never made scones before, so I'm just kind of experimenting.
Okay, what's the recipe like? What are you doing right now?
So right now I'm just kind of making the base for the dough. So I'm just mixing like flour, some cinnamon, baking powder, things like that. And then in a second, I'm gonna grate some butter into it and kind of make like almost like a pie dough kind of thing.
Andrews is a new baker and recently moved to Rexburg. And in an effort to connect with her neighbors and the community, she started Little Free Bakery, where she bakes a treat and leaves it on the steps of her apartment for anyone to enjoy.
It's gotten a really good response. Like I have a ton of people who are like regulars and they come every single week and they're like super excited for it. And so it's been really fun to see and like meet people. I have a couple families who like bring their kids every week. Like I'm getting to know my neighbors. Like I didn't know anyone when I moved here, and I really like to know my neighbors' names and meet their kids and, you know what they do for a living. And so it's really nice to meet people and to know that I'm like bringing a little bit of joy into the community.
In addition to the free bakery, Andrews also owns Old Souls Bakery and does free drops each weekend to practice new recipes.
Yeah. Do you have any funny stories, things that have happened?
I don't think so. I mean, last week I made bear claws and I was really hoping that they were going to be like beautiful and like gorgeous pastries, and then they kind of unfolded and they were like bear tacos, and I was really worried that nobody would want them, and so I posted and I was like, ugly and deformed bear claws if anyone wants them, and they were gone when I came back, so everybody apparently liked them.
You can find the drop location, days, and times all on Instagram and Facebook at Little Free Bakery Rexburg.
I always post usually about an hour or two before I'm going to put stuff out, just so that people can know it's coming out and get ready.
For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Ella Ziegler.
Once again, a big thank you for listening to BYU-Idaho Radio. These have been your evening headlines for January 30th, 2025. More news, interviews, and great content are available on our podcast feed. Search for BYU-Idaho Radio on your favorite podcast apps. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also ask your smart speakers to play KBYI 94.3 FM. Be informed, be inspired. Keep listening to BYU-Idaho Radio.